He was a champion of debate. He loved
Yeah.
having people have discussions and
Mm.
conversations. He would go to places where these young people would be, especially the campuses where a lot of this brainwashing was taking place. And he would engage them and challenge them. And most importantly, with such grace, he was always open to hearing what people had to say. And so for him to have been targeted for assassination was really heartbreaking. But beyond that, the glee and celebration that we saw from his detractors on the left was, for me, the most abhorrent. But maybe I'll just ask you generally, what is your view of what happened to Charlie Kirk? What was your general reaction when you first heard of the news of his assassination?
I think that first of all, thank you for giving me a chance to discuss Charlie Kirk. I've got to know him more after his death than before. I would hear about him, but I didn't really pay as much attention to him as I probably should have. Um, but I think the assassination of Charlie Kirk confirmed to me something that I'd read in a book by Scott Lively in terms of what time it is. And Charlie Kirk, I think, must have read that book called Redeeming the Rainbow. It's about a critique, a conservative critique of the left-wing takeover of society. And I want to credit Scott Lively. I also had Charlie Kirk say that. He says the stages of the takeover, when you look at how I will use, for example, a subset of the liberal takeover, the individualism, LGBT has taken over, is in 4 stages. But the last stage is the assassination. And I want to show you how we reach to that stage. First of all, they come up with what is called non-discrimination. So a lifestyle that was previously criminal, you work at removing the laws hindering it. So those that were in the closet, they are no longer illegal. So you got breaking a stone wall in a Stonewall riots, and then you progressively come up to where they take possession of state power in Barack Obama's time. So first is non-discrimination. The second stage that they come after non-discrimination is they call for tolerance. Even if you don't agree, just be tolerant. And most people, they're like, they tell you, oh, it doesn't matter. What they do in the privacy of their bedroom is nobody's business. Don't worry about it. Now, normal people are fair, especially liberal. Everybody's actually fair. Like, you do your stuff. And then the third stage from tolerance, they come up to this stage called equality. Okay, they're like, hey, we are equal. Heterosexuals and homosexuals, sodomites. Actually, they changed the names to equal. So that's the third stage. Now the fourth stage. So that's where you have the equality laws coming in. By that time, people have been changed. Now, what happens is the fourth stage is where they make laws called. Some of these laws include hate crimes, forced celebration. Everybody must march. If you don't march in gay pride, you are a bad guy, you are a criminal. And so if you continue saying, I disagree with transgenderism, I disagree with homosexuality, it's against my religion, then they will either put you in a concentration camp, because now they call you homophobe, they call you mentally sick. Homophobia is a description of someone who appears or who is, for
Afraid.
all intents, yeah, someone is sick. They belong in an asylum. So by that stage, they have dehumanized you enough so that now the logical next step is your assassination, is your being deplatformed, is your being denied business. And Uganda, we have seen this when we passed the Anti-Homosexuality Act back in 2014, we had asked for a loan of $100 million from the World Bank to build our maternity wards for women who are dying while giving birth. The president of the World Bank at the time, I talk about this in my book, Why UK, decided that because Uganda was homophobic, we should not receive the financial funding. And so hospitals, that were intended to save the lives of babies were refused to be given financing. Women died. Women died in childbirth. Until just recently, it's just like maybe a couple months ago that World Bank has changed its mind, because it was 2014 and 2024 again. So the assassination of Charlie Kirk is a logical fifth stage in the cultural takeover of society, where those who are our prophets, those who articulate our views, they must be silenced, and they feel good about it. I mean, you have, okay, let's not go with I don't want to go into who killed him, who was used, but I want to go by the ideology behind it, because you got people saying, I want to silence Charlie Kirk. I don't want what he's saying. He's dehumanizing us. He's denying our transgender existence. Look, a lot of these people have been fed lies that a boy can become a girl, like a fairy tale. So you have a lot of these people with butterfly, they're like, what do you call them? They melt like a snowflakes. So the snowflakes, once you tell them, look, a boy is a boy, despite whatever, and a girl is a girl, despite whatever, you will remain, you will always be whatever you are. So they feel like you've offended them because they have invested so much, and they feel justified in destroying you. But look back. So we are at a critical time, James. People like me who are straight, who say that the best way in society is to raise families of men and women and raise children and be God fearing. We are being targeted. So you will continue to see uh, unless there's a radical change in ideology, you will continue to see this arrogance of people persecuting us, killing us, and then celebrating, feeling like, oh yeah, we've killed the homophobe. They did
I can
that to the
guarantee.
preachers. Go
I
ahead.
can guarantee you. I can guarantee you, if you were ever to meet a violent demise, there will be a significant portion of those people who would celebrate, and that's what I don't understand: is where is the grace? Regardless of who your opponent is, surely if they are to die at the hands of an assassin, that should be greeted with nothing but outrage and really just heartbreak. Because if in the case of Charlie Kirk here, we had a father and obviously a husband, and I just found him to be so good natured. For me, that's what has sort of affected me, because I've been talking about Charlie Kirk's death quite often since it happened, and people are like, well, what's this got to do with you? What's this got to do with you? You're in Uganda. He doesn't even know you. No, for me, it's what he represented. Being someone that thrives on conversations and exchanging ideas, for me, he embodied what the best version of that was, which is to hold your head high and to walk into the lion's den, walk into spaces where almost everyone disagrees with you, but to be willing to sit down and
Yeah.
engage them, and to invite them. And he had this thing he used to do that I used to find so fascinating. And it's something that a lot of people picked up on only later on, wherein if someone came up, because there would be lines of people, they would each take their turn. But if someone came up to challenge him or to offer a disagreement, what he would do, he would put down his microphone to show you,
Yeah.
I'm giving you the floor, you talk.
Yeah.
And the person
Yeah.
would talk, express their ideas, quite often insult Charlie, and he would, take the insults in good nature. Sometimes he would match the energy, but never in an abusive way. And just have an exchange of ideas and invite people to come back and ask more questions. Whereas on the other side, they don't even believe you should be in the same room with people you disagree with. So I don't know why it's lost on a lot of these leftists that is precisely why you're losing the crowd. People want to go where they can have a conversation, but if you're going to excommunicate me just because I have one difference of opinion with you on one issue, then how can I say, your bubble is just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and pretty soon it's just going to be a room full of you and your fellow radicals.